get your picture taken.
Good morning. Welcome to the Marshall County Board of Supervisors regular session here August 28th, 9 a.m. here in the first floor meeting room. The board encourages the public to remain engaged by actively participating in Zoom. We'll have some on Zoom today. The board of supervisors welcomes comments from the public during time allowed for discussion. You're requested to approach the podium right over here. Use a microphone. That's for recording, not necessarily for sound in here. State your name and address for the record and limit time used to present your remarks that others may be given the opportunity to speak. The normal process on any agenda is for the chair to read the item from the agenda. The board's given the opportunity to comment on the issue and or place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate and a roll call will follow. We'll start with the roll call, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Solasic?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
Could we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do we have a motion to approve today's agenda?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
We have the motion and the second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Solasic?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
All right, service awards today. We have a couple 5-year service awards in our secondary roads department. That would be Brian Hart, secondary roads truck driver 3, and Justin Childs, secondary roads patrolman 2. We have our engineer Paul Geilenfeld here with some comments.
Hi, yeah, Justin Childs and Brian Hart, both, fairly somewhat recent hires, but it's just, they're excellent operators, and it's nice to have newer hires come in that have interest in operating a motor grader, because it's a tough job, and it takes a skill that's not as common as it used to be. And there isn't as many of our crew that want to go that route with with the career. So thank you to both Brian and Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, then might as well just stay up there for our next ones as well. And so rounding it out after our 5-year, we have our how many years are we? 25 years. 25 years, holy cow. And we'll start with Tom Stanley, secondary roads patrolman 2.
Tom's actually here.
No.
So Tom's with 25 years. Hopefully, he's got quite a few more left in him, and I don't have any indication.
No frowny face.
He's one of the senior members of our crew now, and we're really happy to have his fine work.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, Tom, thank you for all that you've done for Marshall County. 25 years is a long time of dedicated service to one place and the people of Marshall County, and we certainly owe a debt of gratitude to you and appreciate all you've done.
Yeah.
Here's
Thank you.
your,
Yeah, come on up.
come on up and, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Jim. There's that. Awesome. Thanks a lot. Do you have any special words for us? You don't have to. You don't want to take the mic.
No.
Sounds like he said it.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's
Thank
cool.
you.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, next up, again, 25 years. We have Pat White in the Sheriff's Office, our Chief Jailer. Our Sheriff Joel Phillips with some comments as well.
Yeah, Pat, Chief Jailer Pat White, he's been one of our assigned to our jail division. He was one of the first that was hired from the transition from the Sheriff's Office at the South 2nd Avenue address to the new complex we're at now on Jessup Avenue. Pat has a long career, 25 years, obviously a long time, especially in corrections. We don't see that very often. It's a rarity. Pat worked as a jailer when he was hired. He worked his way up as a level 2 supervisor, basically a lieutenant. In 2017, he was appointed as chief jail administrator. Pat badge number was 18, and then last week we issued 129. So you can see that our jail division has grown throughout the staff. And I think Pat, for what he does, he keeps that facility running very smoothly. It's one of the highest liability topics that we have as sheriff's office. Pat also serves as a reserve, so not only does he serve as a jail administrator, he comes out for free as a reserve officer, so we thank him for his dedication to Marshall County. And he also serves on the Iowa State Sheriffs and Deputies Association Jail Legislative Committee, so he's looking out for the best interests of Marshall County and the Sheriff's Office when it comes down to legislative measures for our county jails. So I want to thank him for his dedication to Marshall County.
Well, come on up. Sheriff, get in here too. This is gonna make the picture look really good. I'm the one guy out of you. Any words to share with us, Pat?
It's been a long career. I guess my biggest thing is technology. You know, that's the hugest thing that's changed over the years. I remember starting on South Second Avenue, we had a few black and white cameras that were green, and we changed VCR tapes for record. And now I have employees that don't know what those are and haven't even been alive as long as I've been doing it. So yeah, it's changed a lot. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pat.
Yeah.
Thank you both. We
Yeah.
appreciate your work.
Yeah, that's great. 25 years, it's a wonderful commitment to one place, and you know, in this day and age, it's like everyone's looking for that next best jump, and to have committed people to Marshall County, that says a lot, so we really do appreciate it. All right. Any other comment on our service awards? All right. On to our consent agenda. Approve claims as audited, and authorize the county auditor and recorder issue the payment of the same. Listing the claims paid at this meeting, all claims paid in the current month will be published as part of the first meeting of the following month. Personnel changes, approved new hire, secondary roads, Jeff Robinson, full-time truck driver 1, $30.60 per hour to start on or after August 29th, 2024. And status change, secondary roads, Connor Reyes, truck driver 2 to truck driver 3, full-time, $31.38 per hour to $31.77 per hour, effective August 31st, 2024. Approve 2023 property tax rates payable 2024-25, and that is submitted to the record. And that concludes our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed.
I'll second that.
We have that motion and a second. Is there any discussion on these items? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Heil.
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Hibbs.
Yes.
All right, number 8, discussion and possible action to approve the renewal of the Masonic Holding Corporation 3-year lease proposal from September 1st, 2024 through August 30th, 2027.
I can take the lead on that. I visited with Jim Hunt with the Masonic Holding Corporation. They weren't in the mood to negotiate. They were asking for a 5% increase per year for rent at the Masonic Temple.
Steve, can you remind me, what was the terms prior to this
You
renewal?
know, I didn't look it up. I don't know what they were. I didn't have the...
And just to remind everybody, that's where juvenile court services is across the street.
Right.
Give me just a moment. I sent that to Steve. Previous. Please.
I guess I was just curious what,
Sure.
5% a year for 3 years is pretty significant.
Yes, it is.
So I'm just wondering if we're making up for lost time or if this is typical.
It looks like it's year one, monthly rent of $1,507.75.
Yeah.
And it's for a total of 2,127 square feet. So we got room numbers 204, 205, 206, 207, 208, A, 209, and 216.
Yeah,
What's that per square foot then?
yeah. And
If I recall, it's.
2127.
yeah, I mean, it's
Square
not
feet.
out of line for the price per
No.
square foot.
No, it's
I'm
not.
just curious as to if we're just trying to make up for what we haven't done in the past, or what are we doing?
They are not making it work over there right now.
Yeah.
They're underwater with where they're at right now. So they are, everybody is going to be increased.
Okay,
So yeah, here, we're currently at 1436 a month in our current year, for a total of 17,232 for the total year.
okay.
Was the last contract for a 3-year period and no change during that 3-year period?
Oh, no, it increased each
It
year.
increases each year, okay.
So it's a very similar
Okay.
contract where it increased. I can forward this to
I
all
was
of
just
you.
curious as to what percentage it increased each year. But, I mean, as I said, the total rate per square foot is not out of line
No,
with
it's not.
renting
No,
office
they're-
space in downtown.
Treating us fairly is what.
I will forward all of you the last lease.
You can go ahead.
I proposed a 4% increase with them, and they weren't in the mood to make any changes from this 5. So this is where we are going to have to be at this time.
All right, would you like to make a motion on that then, Steve?
Yes, I would make a motion then to pay the Masonic Holding Corporation, increase the rent 5% per year on 2,127 square feet.
I'll second that.
All right, we have the motion and the second. Any further discussion?
Thank you.
All right, roll call, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes,
All right, number 9, approve State of Iowa Alcohol Beverage Division license, Cami Coulterman, doing business as Midwest Sips. We have a motion to approve this today?
I'll make the motion that we approve the alcohol beverage division license for Cami Coulterman, doing business as Midwest Sips.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Effective is September 28th the correct date, or should it be August 28th?
September 28th. They're doing a wedding out
Oh,
in the
okay.
county, so that's what they need the
Okay,
license for.
okay.
Perfect, thanks for that clarification. Any further questions? Roll call vote, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes,
All right, number 10, Resolution 2024-28, a resolution to approve the Region 6 Housing Trust Fund Marshall County cash contribution. I can read this if you'd like me to.
Or not?
It's whereas Region 6 Housing Trust Fund can annually apply for approximately $450,560 dollars of Iowa Finance Authority state housing trust funds if the trust fund secures $112,640 dollars of local contributions. And whereas the per capita state share for Marshall County is $194,759, if $48,690 of local assistance is secured, and whereas the IFA expects that 30% of the state funds be expended for households under 30% of the county median, which is $135,168, and it can be difficult some years to find projects under these income values. And the Housing Trust Fund directly supports at least 8 to 10 construction jobs annually. And whereas the Housing Trust Fund has expended 1.147650 million in Marshall County from 2015 to 2023, which is less than the per capita level of 1.277080 million. So Region 6 HTF proposes to reserve about $300,000 of funding for Marshall County projects in 2025, and whereas the applicants must have annual incomes under 80% of the county median as determined by HUD, now therefore be resolved by the Board of Supervisors of Marshall County. Marshall County will provide $48,690 of cash assistance to support the 2025 Region 6 Housing Trust Fund application, and this funding will be provided in fiscal year 25-26. Approved this day
Yeah.
on the 28th of August.
Julie is here
Yes.
and Mark is here.
Yes,
so,
please come
yeah.
on up. Come on up. Now that I put you to sleep reading, wake us back up.
Hi there, Julie Winter with Region 6 Resource Partners and the Housing Trust Fund. My colleague Mark Newberg is also here. We are coming to you today to talk about the Housing Trust Fund local match. The Housing Trust Fund serves Hardin, Marshall, Poweshiek, and Tama counties. And generally, we provide funding to help repair owner-occupied housing. We're primarily focusing on exterior home repairs, that would be roofs, windows, doors, siding, gutters, soffits, fascia. Those are our primary focuses, and our goal is to help preserve housing stock that's already here in the region. We know that the cost of housing, and especially the cost of building, has gone up significantly in recent years, and it's really more important than ever to maintain the housing stock we have in the region in order to maintain affordable housing. We have done a lot of great work in Marshall County. Some of those statistics were in that resolution. But just in the past 5 years, from 2020 to 2024, we've done 18 projects that you see on that Marshall County sheet. And those projects total up to $471,845 of investment for housing in Marshall County. And if you consider the impact of this Housing Trust Fund program from, I believe that's for the last 10 years or so, we've done $1.1 million of investments in housing during that time. So we're here today. We have an annual grant application from the Iowa Finance Authority, IFA, and we have the opportunity to apply for a total of $450,560. And Marshall County then would have a per capita share of that grant money at $194,759. But in order to access that grant money, each of our counties have to provide a local match. So the Marshall County local match on that would be $48,690. And we're asking the Board of Supervisors to consider that local match for this grant application. In general, we also included in the resolution just the idea that because we're serving the 4 counties with this funding, we monitor how closely the spending is to make sure each county has an appropriate per capita representation. And so for this year's grant funding, if we're funded, we would put roughly $300,000 worth of that grant funding towards Marshall County, just to maintain that we keep that per capita split fair for Marshall County. So that is kind of the gist of why we're here, and I'm happy to take any questions on that. I know it's a lot of details, so.
Julie, I'm a little curious about the number of projects, or do you have projects waiting for this?
Quite a few projects
Okay.
waiting. We always receive pretty good need in Marshall County, so I don't foresee that we're going to have a problem meeting that goal and that demand in Marshall County. As the resolution states, the only thing that sometimes limits us is any of the grant money that we get, we have to reserve 30% of the grant funding for any households that are 30% or less of the median family income. And so that is one thing. We can't just take everyone who comes in the door that's 80%. Sometimes we have to hold out and wait for those 30%ers, so.
And what's the timeline on using the funding?
That is a period of 3 years, is that correct? Mark is our program manager,
Yeah.
so I look to him for some of those details. Yeah. So we have 3 years from the time that we're allocated those funds to actually spend it down, and then we close each grant year out with IFA, so. We've been doing this. Housing Trust Fund has been in existence since about 2008, doing this similar per capita match for all the counties. And the local housing trust funds are a huge benefit to regions. Again, really just making sure that we preserve that housing stock. It's an incredible tool, so.
Okay.
When you say Marshall County, does that include the city of Marshalltown
Yes.
and all of the
Yes.
smaller communities in Marshall County?
Yes,
Okay.
and so again, we are able to serve anyone who gives us an application. We have quite a lengthy waiting list at this point. As you can imagine, just based on population density, we do receive a lot of interest from Marshalltown, but we also do seek out interest in the program into those smaller towns in Marshall County, and even in unincorporated is also eligible, so.
Prior fiscal year, what was our local county match? I was trying to find that number here.
I believe it's gone up a little bit this year, and that's just because the state legislature is increasing the total grant amount right now because they are seeing the value for housing trust funds. I don't have that number in front of me, but I believe we're up a couple thousand from last year. I think we
Yeah.
were maybe right around the 45K mark.
Yeah, I think it was around 44 or 45, if I remember.
And now we're at
I
48.
remember when it was in the high 30s too, but
Yeah.
it's, if the state is increasing the amount available, our match goes up too, so.
And part of that reason for why the state is increasing this program funding is because they've cut funding in other aspects related to the CDBG housing program. So it's all kind of a measure of how the state is allocating funding for housing repairs, and we are a critical tool with that. So that is why the match is kind of moving a little bit on that. It's just the grant amount total.
But for the investment of the local dollars, this is a good return
Oh, yeah,
from
absolutely.
the state.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions that you all have? We're happy to answer any.
I don't have any.
Not for me.
Thanks for being here today. We appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion that we adopt Resolution 2024-0028, a resolution to approve the Region 6 Housing Trust Fund, Marshall County cash contribution at, well, let's see, where's my number? $48,690.
I'll second.
All right, we have that motion in a second. Is there any further discussion on this item? Roll call, please.
Heil.
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Hibbs.
Yes.
On to the secondary roads, Wolf Lake, 7364, letting.
We do not have any bids.
No
There are
bid?
no bids.
There are no bids.
Paul
so-
Carmichael, County Engineer. I knew this was a possibility with a job that, we do have we had a fairly tight construction schedule because it's late in the year and we are gonna do this, this, construction season. And it's not a large piece of work, it's a big deal for us, but it's less than a mile of paving, so it's I guess maybe just not very appealing to many contractors, but knowing that this was a possibility, I do have a plan B that might actually be better anyway, because we can do this work as a local project with a combination of day labor and hiring, doing, basically just fee-based with a contractor that, will do the work for us. It'll be difficult, it'll be more hands-on with my office, but that's fine because this project at Wolf Lake is a lot of specialty work. It is, there are dozens of driveways that will require each a unique build on how they, our paving jobs don't usually have this many accesses. This is as close to urban work as I get, and it's as close as I want to get. So but we will proceed with the local project with no bids on the, we do have it programmed. I'm confident that we can do this under our budgeted amount, and we will move forward.
Well, we appreciate the patience of the residents in Wolf
Yes.
Lake.
Yes, that's why I wanted to be very clear that we're still gonna do the resurfacing project
Yes.
out there. And we have, we've kind of been working on some of the culverts, in the grade to
Yeah.
make sure that they're proper for paving over.
We'll get Steve and myself a orange vest. We'll do what we can.
We can
We
help.
do have to provide traffic control, and it's a short certification that you need to go through, but
So.
You've got some
I
volunteers.
have a hard hat. You can
Got a
borrow
hard-
if you
hard
need it.
hats boy.
Yeah.
it's likely gonna be when we're paving, for sure.
Would you know when there's what an estimated cost would be to do this?
I did an engineer's estimate that I was in the neighborhood of around 600,000
Okay.
to do this work, but that, all the bid prices for something this small, this specialized are gonna be on the higher end of what, I didn't know how it would come back, so I'm pretty sure we can be well under the 600,000 because we aren't in it to make money.
Yep. All right, well, keep us updated on the
Okay.
process, and we appreciate your work, and as Steve said, the patience of those folks out there at Wolf Lake. All right, that leads us to number 12, unless there's any further comment on that. We'll proceed. That leads us to public forum today. Anyone with public comments on topics of county business other than those listed on the agenda? No action will be taken on these topics in public forum today.
Sydney Grewell, Marshall County Public Health Director. I just wanted to come by today to say that myself, Unity Point Health Marshalltown, and Primary Health Care in Marshalltown, we are going to be rolling out the Community Health Needs Assessment. So we did, it's a requirement for nonprofits and health facilities in the state to do a Community Health Needs Assessment every couple years. It depends on what entity you're in. So Marshall County Public Health just finished ours last year, but the hospital was not included in it. And so I was approached by Sherry King and the administrators at Unity Point Health Waterloo Region to partner and do another one. So I jumped on the opportunity, and so we're going to do another one starting September 1st. So I thought today would be a good day to jump in to say, hey, we're starting it. We have flyers, if James could put those up as soon as he gets them. So we're going to do it for 3 weeks. So we have them, of course, in English and in Spanish, encompassing all of what is Marshall County. So before we had just kind of a basic group of people, like a stock photo of just figures. And I propose that, for people in Marshall County to do it, you want to show that it's for Marshall County and it has an impact on your community. So we included, landmarks and pictures and stuff that show our population. So the QR code is where people will be able to get the survey itself, both in English and in Spanish, and then we will have the physical copies available that people can come pick up actually at the Marshall County Public Health Office. And then if you go to Unity Point Health, whether that's the emergency room, the hospital, urgent care, the clinic, or you go to primary health care, you will be also able to pick up a copy, like a physical copy. And then you can just fill it out and leave it there. It's also planned to work with the county and put them out maybe just like the flyers so people can take them as they stand, waiting for the treasurer's office or, elections, stuff like that, because we're just going to be doing it through September. And then we're going to put together a steering committee of people to review the results. So the survey is live. So if you do,
Got it.
Carol's on it. So if
Yeah.
you do scan the QR code, you can pull it up and start taking the survey. And it does directly affect the people here in Marshall County and the health services that we provide. And it's very important to, see what the disparities are that we have, and it goes through the entire state. So, and it's, like I said, required. We call it the China is the shortened, the Community Health Needs Assessment, and then we put it into the Community Health Improvement Plan. And that's something that we have the State Health Improvement Plan and the Community Health Improvement Plan. So it's a bunch of acronyms that we all put together. But like I said, there's all of us are partnering together, so you're hitting your big groups of people, and Carol has it, if she still has it pulled up, there's a little button on the top that you have to go and like change the language, so it'll be available in English, Spanish, Burmese, French, and then I think we're working on Korean or Karenni, so we're just, trying to target all the populations for people to have them. And then we'll get them, oh, there you go, James has got it. So they're getting them up there so we partnered with Black Hawk County to follow their survey, so they just tweaked it for Marshall County. So then as they get the surveys up there, the languages are going up there as well. So, it applies to what your community is. So it's not like, what is it like in Des Moines? It's what it's like here in Marshall County. Do you feel that Marshalltown there's a lot of opportunity for healthcare, or, is there access to healthcare? Is there safe housing? Is it clean? Stuff like that. So don't think about it when you ask people, you're here in Marshall County, not the state as a whole. So.
Great. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Good morning, Kim Elder, Emergency Management Coordinator. On a note with that, since I sit on the Board of Health, it's really important to fill that out. I know when we did it as a Board of Health, didn't have very many responses, and that doesn't give us a whole picture for the whole county. So there's so many things, like Sydney said, that we're working on, whether it be the hospital or EMS. We've been talking about, how essential is EMS, and this will help answer those questions that we need to move on with a lot of projects. So it's not just a hospital or just public health. It touches a lot of things. Notes on the siren project, which seems to be winding down to a closeout, which is exciting. The siren project, all the sirens have been working. We've worked through a few, little glitches that you always do with electronics, things like that. But everything seems to be working well. I worked with Grimes Farm for a specialty testing. So they don't test every Tuesday. They'll test the first Tuesday of every month, simply because that's supposed to be a quiet, pleasant place out there. We're trying not to disturb the wildlife, that kind of thing too. So we'll do silent testing. Basically, we do that every day anyway with all of the sirens that you don't notice. It's coming through my computer. I'm getting reports to see if everything's communicating. But it is important to test the actual sound of that at some point. So first Tuesday of the month is what Emily and I come up with. Sorry, allergies. Been at Grimes Farm. That happens. And then as soon as we get all of the reimbursements back to the county, which we've seen a few on the siren project, then the closeout will pretty much wrap up. They have all the information from me that they need, and that's exciting. This has been going on for a long time. And like I talked about last time, and I actually talked to the state about, I'm anxious for that next step. So trying to get other sirens put out into other areas that have high population density, and the state is actually probably going to see some more hazard mitigation grants because of all the disasters, unfortunately, that we've seen. That's how those get put out, and how that money is put out. So I'll be watching for the next one that comes around and working with those communities or areas out in the county to see if they want to do any more sirens. So it may be a county project if it's an unincorporated area. It may be a jurisdictional area. So it'll work a little different now that we have that backbone built. But it'll be so much easier to put another siren onto this project. And the state actually encouraged me to go forward with any of those that we see. So that's good. Some notes on the new sirens. We test them year-round and have for as many years as we've been testing them. Every Tuesday, 9 o'clock, unless there's really busy in the comm center. That can be a thing. It can be delayed a bit. If it's cloudy, looks like it's going to storm, looks impending, we won't test them so we don't make a panic. Or if there is actual warnings, watches in the areas, we don't sound them. They're always sounded for warnings, and that will continue. But there is an addition with the new sirens. They recommend with the manufacturer that you don't sound them under 35 degrees because if you've got some wind chill there, we could see a freezing temperature and there's some breakage that can happen in those rotating parts, which shouldn't be a problem, even though we do see tornadoes in any month of the year. If there's still a warning, we're going to set them off. We're still doing the silent testing. So we've come to the conclusion that anything under 40, just because we do get wind chill and if you have moisture, we won't be testing the actual sound. So Rhonda and I are working on SOPs just so that we can have that for her dispatch and also for me because I set them off alternately at my office. But we'll also get kind of a press release out for that so that we can let people know what those parameters are for setting those off. Always during a warning, they're going to go off, so you don't have to worry about that. And then there's just another plug for make sure that you have other parts of that toolbox. So you've got Alert Iowa, you're signed up for that. You've got a NOAA weather radio because there's other parts to that that can help people. The sirens are an outdoor warning system, like I've stated before, and even though you might hear them inside of a building, they're not intended for that, so there's other parts and other tools. Any questions on the sirens or project? Okay. A couple of little quick things that are coming up. September 14th, Marshall County is hosting what's called a CERT rodeo. It's a CERT invitational training for all of the CERT teams in Iowa. We also have some CERT team members coming from outside of the state. So Quad Cities is a good example. Omaha, they're on those borders, Sioux City, and they are sending some people in too. Pretty exciting. It's something fairly new. This is the third year, the second only rodeo. We had a planning year, and then Mason City hosted last year, and we're hosting. So that'll be an all-day event. A lot of those people will come and stay in our communities, which is nice. So I've been asking the businesses or anyone that wants information to put in those little welcome packets that we give them. It's nice to have maybe a coupon to go to a restaurant or something like that. Just gets them to spend money in our community while they're here, but also gets them a kind of a nice welcome. And so if anybody needs information on that, they can call me at the emergency management office. And then we'll have another basic training. It's a preparedness training for the CERT team. Not required to be a CERT member to take it. That's coming up November 2nd, 3rd. It's a full weekend. And just a good class for people to come in and find out, what they don't know, find out some new ways of preparing their family and learn some new skills. So I think that's it. Thank
Great,
you.
thank you,
Jeremiah, Jeremiah, can you hear the siren in Ferguson?
Yeah, my daughter says that she can hear them when she's been home. I haven't been around there, but yep, she can hear them
Okay.
now, so.
All right.
Yep.
And Jack
You
Smith?
hear them at your place too, right?
Yes, I can hear. I'm 2 miles away and I can hear them. Jack Smith, can you hear them?
It depends on the wind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It does depend on the wind and other atmospheric conditions, but yeah, they sound great.
Yep.
Good morning. I'm Mark Applegate, 1809 Prairie Avenue here in Marshalltown. And I'm here to request a posted speed limit change outside of the city limits. And I don't have enough brochures here. This might involve you too. North Center Street has a speed limit posted at 35 miles an hour, which doesn't change for the entire North Center Street as you are out of Marshalltown city limits. Now, Steve suggested I start in this arena here, and maybe this takes further discussion outside this arena. But anyway, that speed limit changes to 40 once you get to Sand Road. And if I go on straight north out of Center Street, it turns to Reed Avenue, which if I remember correctly, the Iowa speed limit all on gravel roads is 50 miles an hour. I don't find anywhere else in the city, as you'll see on that sheet that I've handed out, highlighted in orange, are the speed limits as you leave Marshalltown city limits. I don't find anything under 45 miles an hour other than North Center Street. I would like to see that changed for both Center Street and for Sand Road, which is 40 miles an hour. It seems like it takes a long time to drive a mile at 35 miles an hour. In fact, I can leave Marshalltown, starting, where is it? At the current Arby's, not the new one, at 45 miles an hour. Or I can leave Iowa Avenue at 50 miles an hour. And that's within the city limits. So I would propose a change to that, North Center Street to 45 miles an hour and 55 miles an hour on Sand Road. And that's the extent of my request.
Great. Thank you for being here today, and we'll definitely take this into consideration. Do you, if you'd like to, or do you need a copy of this?
Yeah.
There you go.
I could speak to the Center Street speed limit anyway a little bit, but the decision to post that at 35 had a lot to do with people that walk on that road. There's pedestrian traffic on that road, even though it doesn't. And there's also people that tend to fish off the bridges. And thank you for going 35, because you're the only person I've ever heard on that road.
Mark's a good guy.
That's
why it's a kindergarten teacher.
And so that was part of the reason for the reduced speed, and we can certainly consider increasing it, but that was the reason.
Okay.
Thank you.
Joel Phillips, Sheriff. Yeah, I think he may be the only one that obeys that speed limit restriction
His
there.
wife Shelley would too.
But we have had some property damage accidents and some personal injury accidents from accidents out on Prairie Avenue. It's a difficult area to even enforce, given the engineering aspects of that roadway. But I think he had some really good comments, and I before looking into that to see if we can make those adjustments for a law enforcement recommendation anyway.
How long has it been, 35?
Oh, it's been as long as I've been in law enforcement.
We extended it out to Sand Road when we did the bridge project.
Which was, remind me, how long ago was that? I mean, 4 or 5 years ago, yeah.
It was a multi-year.
Yeah.
May I request, if 35 is fixed and hard, how about north of Waterworks driveway?
Mm-hmm.
There's only one other driveway along that, and that's to KDAO. Very, very limited traffic there.
Mm-hmm.
Same on the Sand Road.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Smith, 2986 Underwood Avenue, Gilman. A week ago last night, there was a wind farm, I don't know if that's the right term, meeting in the community center at Ferguson with approximately 80 people there, the purpose which is mainly to sign people up to put up wind towers. And up front, I want you to know that I'm opposed to this. I live next to Greencastle, but my purpose today is not to harangue against the wind farm. I'm wondering if I know there were 2 board members at the meeting. I believe Steve and Jared were there. And I don't know, I know it's in the very early stages, but have you as individuals or the board taken any position on this proposed wind farm project?
No.
No, okay. Well, in that regard, then, I guess, again, as proactive, it may not even occur, but I know there are a lot of interests. Whenever there's money, there's interest, and it's a very divisive project, and that's another issue. But I would like the board to be proactive in regard to this, should it occur. I would like a minimum setback for individual property owners. I know I asked the question, and I think they thought it might be 1,200 feet from a home out in the county. And I would like to see the board take action and make that a minimum of 2,000 feet. I would like the county board to take action and provide some tools to the conservation board. I'm not sure, but approximately, I'm going to say $2 million has been put into Greencastle. I'm not sure that's an accurate figure, but have a setback of 1 mile from county parks. When that Greencastle project is completed, on a good summer's evening, there may be more people in Greencastle than there is in Ferguson. And it's possible to surround those with wind towers. I would like that set back 1 mile. It's going to change this part of the county forever. And the infrastructure stress on county roads is really, really tough with all the cement and gravel trucks. Those roads are not constructed for that, so give the county engineer some tools to deal with that. And I guess finally, take a position. I know there's a lot of talk today with politics of the word democracy, and I would like to see the county vote on it. Do the people of Marshall County want a wind farm changing that area forever? And for whatever that's worth, those are my views. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
What's the meeting at?
Ferguson Community
Ferguson?
Center.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other public comment?
Emily Herring, Marshall County Conservation Director. Jack had been in contact with me about the wind farm. Obviously, it is a concern of ours being close to Greencastle Campground after we've invested the funds in developing a campground. I've had some conversations about, making sure that the sound isn't affecting the visitors of the park. That's one of our concerns. And also, of course, the wildlife effects. I know a lot of times those businesses have to do mitigation work for the loss of birds and bats and other species that are affected by the wind farms. I think the one thing that we would like to be a part of the conversation, conservation hasn't been included in any of the mailings or information, and I think it appears to be completely surrounded by the project. We would like to be a part of that conversation, so I think we'll be reaching out to the company that is recruiting the easements and ask to be involved in those conversations. So that way, everything is clear and open, and that way, I think finding a solution that all people can agree on and make sure it's what's best for the county.
Thanks, Emily. Other public forum today?
Nan Benson, Auditor Recorder, just remind everybody that yesterday, August 27th, we are beginning to accept absentee ballot requests. So anyone here can run up, and if they want one, they can sign it. We can accept them now. Unfortunately, anyone mailing them in last week, we had to mail them back to them and explain why. So ballots will not be mailed out until October 16th. So that is a big delay, so that will be confusing to some folks as well. So just so everybody's educated here, if you get questions, know it's the middle of October before you mail out. So thank you.
Thank you.
And we had a ton of calls yesterday. Very active in our office.
let's keep this party rolling, guys. Anyone else? Well, thank you, everybody, for participating in our meeting today. There is no further public comment. We will, we need to move to our closed session, so we need that motion, and then following that motion and vote, we will then need to kick everybody out.
Not you, Steve.
So let's do the motion, then break. for you.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to enter into closed session pursuant to Section 21.3, subsection 1, paragraph C of the Code of Iowa to discuss strategy with counsel in matters where litigation is imminent and where its disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the county in that litigation. Marshall County has an attorney-client relationship with the Office of the Marshall County Attorney in Ehlers and Cooney at
9:50.
9:50.
And I'll second.
You have the motion and the second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Solosik?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay, I don't know how long this will take. Do you want to, yeah, how about I call you? I don't want you to have to hang around.